Welcome, 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 welcome. Greetings, Lady Sandy. It is so nice to see you. All right, guys, we are here. Welcome to Brilliant Babes. I'm your host, Vale Chiconi. We are going to get right into it. I see you. Greetings. Greetings, Lady Sandy. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. All right, guys, let's get right into it. I'm so glad that you guys are here. And yes, we did the program on Lateros, the dear future wife, obviously. Have fun, his fans. I don't know. To me, I feel like a lot of women are heartbroken because they enjoyed seeing him single, just hoping that one day it might be them for one reason or the other. And they just feel like, okay, if you're talking about him, you're hating. No, we're not hurting. We are happy that he's finally off the market, that he's married, okay? But we're just not going to overlook what's publicly available out there. So we are here. right, guys, I'm so glad that you are here. We're going to get right into it. So, as you can see, we have Rateras there and the gentleman S Metaphor. I'm not familiar with S Metaphor and the other gentleman, that's Tony Gaskins. So, these are the people the who's when it comes to relationships. Okay. And it was quite interesting when I watched a show on these young men in Atlanta. How can I forget their names? Hardly initiated. Okay. So they had Tony Gaskins there. They were interviewing him. So while they were interviewing him, S Metaphor joined in live on the chat. So it is very interesting how these people, their mindset when it comes to relationships, what is their foundation, what is their grounding, what is their worldview. And there is a world of a difference. And I think this is where most of these relationships guru, they get it wrong. And no wonder there's so much a mess in our culture, in our society. There's too many messages, too many cooks in the kitchen. But it just shows like, are they doing it to help people, or are they doing it to have a brand to, just to maintain, right? You gotta keep, as they say, you gotta keep the machine going. Okay, so it's in your best interest to have these women not to find the solution that they need, because once they get the solution they need, they no longer need your services. But as long as they keep coming back, as long as they're in that state, they'll always be your quote unquote your customers. I hope what I'm saying is making sense. So let's just dive in to what took place on this show. Okay. So I'll be stopping it along the way, okay? So this is quite very interesting. I was just like, wait a minute. Do people actually think like this? But yes, they do, guys, okay? So we are here for it. I'm so glad that you guys are here. I'm interested to know what you guys think, okay? So let's just get right into it right now. So this is S Metaphor on Hardly Initiated, okay? Responding to Tony Gaskins, okay? So watch this.
And first, did you hear what was stated?
Yeah, I'll rewatched it. Everybody, internet is funny. They tag you real fast. So here's the thing. I respectfully disagree with my brother there. And the reason why I disagree is because there are all sorts of people from all sorts of walks of life. While I understand your perspective as a married man, brother, and this is also tagged along to the Instagram post that you guys made a couple weeks ago. While I do understand your perspective, there are so many people right now struggling with dating, getting in and out of situationships, relationships, getting their heart broken. And even then I can say to you, brother, that maybe you're out of touch there. You know what I'm saying? So there are people that I bring on my panel that have walked and touched all different parts of life. This woman may be able to speak to this particular experience. This man may be able to speak to that particular experience. And that might reach somebody in that audience a little bit differently than you can. It doesn't mean that it's better, worse, or indifferent. It just means there are different perspectives. To think that all human beings are monolithic, that our walks of life all take the same course and the same path, and that there's one set of advice to give to all different people, to me seems out of touch, and it disqualifies a lot of people's personal experiences. One of the things I want to correct real quick that
okay, so this right here is the problem. Okay, like when people are talking, especially when they sound sophisticated, okay, when they're sounding like they're making sense, always try to listen to what is this particular person worldview, okay? There are things that are in the, I don't want to use the word universe, because every time I use it in my head, I'm like, okay, I'm sounding like a new age, okay? But I mean it in this way. There are principles in life that are applicable to everybody across the board, okay? So you cannot just change those things. Those things are fixed. That's how God has designed things. So, for example, it is a good thing for children to grow up in a two-parent household. That is true everywhere in the world. It doesn't matter. You see what I'm saying? So we are not saying that a child cannot be raised well in a single-parent home. That's not the point. But the principle, how God has designed things, God has designed families to be together. You see what I'm saying? So that is a solution that is absolutely needed across the board. It doesn't matter where you're at. So people, whenever they're arguing from the exceptions, like, oh, this person was raised by single mom, they turn out to be all right. That is not the point. The point is, what is the good thing? What is the good thing that you're going to promote, right? In the same way, it is a good thing in the society for children to obey their parents. That is a good thing across the board. You see what I'm saying? So, but these people be like, oh, if you're trying to bring a solution, that's like monolith, people are not monolith. Yes, we get it. People are different. But the solution that's going to help person A, person B, principle is going to be the same. Okay? So these people are they present themselves as relationship gurus, right? So that's the subject at hand. What is a good thing when it comes to relationships? Right? Be like, okay, we don't want people to be having casual sex because that is a bad thing. It's a bad thing in China. It's a bad thing in America. It's a bad thing in Japan. You see what I mean? It is a good thing for people to get married. And that is a good thing across the board. So, but these people want to make it like, oh, it might work for you guys over there. No. That's how it works throughout history. That has proven to be a good method for society. Okay? Are there exceptions to these situations? Yes, they are. But those are not the rule. That's why they're called exceptions. So I'm like, can't we just... I'm very troubled. The mindset of these people who are leading so many women. No wonder we are in this situation. I was just like, okay, so let's listen a little bit more, guys.
That I heard that was spoken, now that we know the name is on there, like, we do have married people on our panel. That was the most confusing part about the whole thing. There are married people and there are actual relationship coaches and professionals that we bring. We have had therapists, we have had life coaches, we have had mentors, we have had people that are actively in the community be regular parts of our discussions. And so I just felt like it was a little bit of misinformation, and it comes from not actually, observing what we got going on.
I observe what you have going on, but let me ask you this. What is the purpose of dating?
It depends on who you asking. My purpose, if you...
You see? So that question right there, what is the purpose of dating? It depends who you're asking. That's subjective. Okay? Truth, guys, is objective. So this is the problem. Like when we try to make the purpose of dating, it depends who you're asking, right? Yeah. Trust and believe. If you're going to ask, young people out there, they just want to have a bachelor life, they're just going to be like, yeah, for sure. It depends who you're asking. Like, no, do we have the standard of truth when it comes to what is the purpose of dating? Do you get the point? So it's like, why are we out here pretending, acting like we don't have values that we should aspire to, even though the majority of people don't aspire to those things, right? That shouldn't be the reason why we're just going to throw away the rules. You see what I mean? We still have speed limits whenever we drive on the road. How many people are speeding? So now all of a sudden, you know what? Because everybody speeds, let's just get rid of speed signs on the highways and byways. Is that what we're going to do? So this is how the society is ordered. Like, no, we follow the rules. Yes, do we always follow the rules? No, we don't. But those rules are there for a reason, despite us doing things to the contrary. So I was very disappointed. I'm like, okay, so these are the people who are giving wisdom in our communities. We are in trouble, guys. Okay? So that was actually a good question from Tony. Watch this.
Ask me specifically.
In the scope of society, in the scope of family, what is the purpose of dating?
For some people, for a large percentage of the people, the scope of dating, if you're being intentional, is to find a husband or wife.
Correct. So,
but let me ask you this question, a follow-up question. Is that the reason why everyone dates?
Is that the reason
why?
That's the point that Esther doesn't see. It is true. That is not the reason why most people do date. Some people are dating just to, they just want to partake the fruits. They want to enjoy those things. But just because those are the things they want to do, is that the good thing? You know what I mean? We are always pursuing the good thing, right? We're always pursuing for the good thing. We're always pursuing for the righteousness. We're always pursuing things that are good for society, not... You know what I mean? You guys get the point. So I'm like, man, what's going on, guys? Okay, what's going on? Are you guys hearing what I'm hearing? I understand it. I'm not familiar with it. What's his name? Daniel's I'll Google him. I might be, maybe the name is just escaping me right now. Okay. So this is if he's a good gentleman, I'll check him out. All right, let's hear this issue. It was quite I was just like, okay, what's going on here? Okay, watch this guy.
Everybody dates. Is that the reason?
But what I'm saying is, we shouldn't promote what the devil doing. We shouldn't promote what is disadvantageous. So if someone is dating for sex, if someone is dating for fun, us as people with a platform should be promoting what is going to benefit society, not what is going to confuse society. So Albert Einstein said you cannot solve a problem from the same level it was created. So having people who are dating, talking to people who are dating, someone who's dating can't help someone who's dating, because the goal of dating is marriage. So a married person can tell someone who is dating, this is what you need to look out for while you're dating. This is what you need to check off. This is what you need.
When the last time you've been actively dating multiple people? When the last time you actively been dating? Like, not your wife, but you've been in a dating market.
This is what you have to understand.
No, so it's the question you asked me.
This is this is a fallacy, okay? Meaning that you can only speak to something if you have experienced it or you are actually experiencing that thing, okay? There's people who can give you wisdom, okay? Because there are principles that are actually true. So we don't, you don't have to be, I'll say this. So for example, right? Paul wasn't married. Timothy wasn't married, right? But okay, maybe this is outside, but you get the point, right? But yeah, Paul is an apostle who is not married, but maybe that's not a good example because he was an apostle, right? They are writing things that are inspired by the Holy Spirit. All right, fine. So scratch that. But the point that I'm saying, I don't discount that simply because somebody is single, they cannot give you wisdom, okay? They can always say, they can give you wisdom. You can get wisdom. There's people who are single, but they're mature. They can give you good wisdom. You know what I mean? Like, because they know how to share what the word of God teaches, okay? And I also do understand when you have people, especially if somebody is a Christian, they know their word, they happen to be single, they will be able to share wisdom, okay? But it is also true because that particular person is not married. There are certain things that they will not be able to share because they've never experienced that, okay? That also is true, but you have to just use wisdom, okay? I don't want to dismiss people because, oh, you know what? You're not married, therefore you cannot pour into my life. I don't believe that's how we should operate, okay? But that's why, wisdom, right? Proverbs is a book of wisdom. But remember, that wisdom is just not going to, not every Jim and Jack is going to have those wisdom, right? We need people to have a transformation of the heart to be able to, to exercise wisdom, to understand certain things. You know what I mean? Because this guy, he could be married. Let's just grind, right? He's married. But the stuff that he's saying, just like, dude, like no. You know what I mean? I don't know if he's married now, but he's been married before. But the stuff that he's saying, I'm like, what is this about? All right, let's watch a little bit more.
Very direct question. I gave you an answer.
I'm answering you. I'm
okay,
answering
go ahead.
you now. Dating is principle based. It doesn't matter if it's 2023 or 1903. A relationship is based on principles, not the culture, not the trend, not the fad. Love does not change. Love stays the same because God is love and God does not change. Love is not contingent upon strip clubs and pornography and Instagram and social media. So the same way that my wife and I dated is the same way that people who will have a healthy marriage date today. But what you're trying to say is that we should date differently today because it's 2023. And that's not true, because a relationship is based on principles. So
now,
what
is that, before you go forward, let me say this. I want to be very clear here. Specifically, I said people are not monolithic. Right now, you're bringing in God, devil, the Bible, and those are your particular principles. And I respect that, brother. I grew up religious too. I respect what you're saying. Dating, the main purpose of dating, it should be to find a mate. People shouldn't have sex before marriage. From the biblical perspective, I understand your perspective, brother, but I'm not going to dismiss your perspective simply because it doesn't align with mine or this person's or that person.
So right here, This is a problem that we do have in our society, okay? That this gentleman, Asa, cannot see, okay? This is God's world. He's the one who created us. He's the one who created the universe. Anytime you are doing things in contradiction to what he has said, whether you're a Christian or not, there is going to be consequences. Simple and straightforward. That's just how things work. So the idea, this is how we get in trouble, by the way, okay? And this is started out all the way with Adam and Eve. You know what I mean? God said, everything in this garden is yours except for this tree. And the devil came in. Has God really said? You see what I mean? And Eve was like, maybe not. Let's just try. They ended up eating that fruit. And here we are. So in the same way, right? God is the one who created a man. God is the one who created a woman, right? Male and female. The same reason why when women try to take over what belongs to men, the responsibility of men, it always brings trouble. You see what I'm saying? So S does not understand that God has designed the universe to work in a certain way. If you forgo those principles, there's going to be consequences. So in his mind, that's a Christian way. That's the Bible way. But I'm out here bringing something else. So what else are you going to bring in? If you're going to reject, that says the Lord, if you're going to reject biblical principles, by definition, you're bringing in the devil. You are bringing on in your own ideas. And where are those ideas coming from? If your ideas are not coming from the scriptures, are not coming from the Bible, the question is, where are they coming from? If it is you who is inventing them, then you've just made yourself to be God. You see what I mean? Yeah. So we either go by what God has said or we disobey, and there's always consequences. So in his mind, Asa just like, oh no, you take the Christian route, talking to Tony. I go the worldly way. And where is that going to lead us? Look at what's happening in Atlanta. The left and right, divorce, all this, right? Because people just want to be, it's whatever works during that time, that moment. So I thought I was just like, man, this is quite interesting. Okay, let's go.
I think the particular problem isn't me saying that your take is wrong. I respect it. I enjoy listening to your content. But to say how things should work for all people and dismiss everyone else that doesn't speak your particular alignment, to me, is irresponsible. And the reason I say that is because there are all sorts of people doing all sorts of things, loving all sorts of ways. And if you think that your way is the only way that works, brother, I commend you. I'm just saying there are people from all walks of life that need to hear other perspectives, either to solidify theirs or make them curious about another way that could work better for them. Brother, the one thing you said that was really interesting to me.
You're telling me who you're working for.
You said what?
You're telling me who you're working for.
And that's why a lot of people, look.
But meaning you tell
when you say that, you go, when you, and what you.
Tony wasn't moved. You are just telling me who you're working for. He's working for the devil. So this is, I thought this was quite the opposite. You see what I'm saying? Like you could never have something that's just black and white. You know what I mean? They are all both involved in relationship, coaching people and all that, right? So if, however, you're going to help people, this is not you advocating people to choose it. You go for vanilla ice cream. So this person wants chocolate. This one wants cookies. This one wants whatever, Neapolitan. No problem there, okay? You can have whatever variety you want. It's just a flavor. But when you're talking about things that pertain to life, principles in life, then there is absolutely a standard to it. And we don't decide that standard. That standard is already there. That's how God has designed things. That's how God has designed the universe to operate and to work. That's it. No wonder there's people out here that believe, oh, God doesn't exist, whatever. But look at them, how they behave. They don't behave like God doesn't exist. You know what I mean? They always complain, oh, there's too much evil. What do you care if there's so much evil? Who cares? After all, you don't believe that God exists, right? But they do care. So that's how you know that, no, you are created in the image of God. So it doesn't matter that Asa, whether he is a Christian or not, it's irrelevant. Okay, the fact that he's a human being, he's created in the image of God. The moral law of God is written on his heart, and he knows. You see what I mean? Creation testifies as such. So we don't have to worry about the person being a Christian or not. They will be held according to biblical standards because God has spoken. They don't have to believe the Bible. Creation is there. And they're image bearers of God. So God has designed them to behave in a certain way. Just like how in the animal world, right? You know how animals behave. We don't expect humans to behave like animals. You know? Why? Where do you get the standard? Why do you have that expectation for human beings not to behave like animals? Who says so? So why are we out here pretending like, oh no, when it comes to the relationships, let free for all? No, that's not how things work.
And what you're saying,
you're working to provide a platform for all of the voices, for all the different types of people, because people are not a monolith. So the voices that you are giving a platform to have no success if they are not in a healthy relationship.
I just told you that there are people on our panel that are married.
Exactly. That's not what's being posted.
Hey, I got a quick question here, Ace, because just to see if there's even any common ground, do you feel like there are some people who should not be putting out relationship content? Do you also feel like there is a group of people who you would deem unqualified to speak on these topics?
Personally?
Yes.
Man, it's real interesting. I'm so busy with my play, brother, that I don't really look across the aisle. There are content creators that I don't particularly vibe with. I don't like their rhetoric. I don't like the way they speak to women in general.
Well,
but there
I'm not being specific about any one person. I just mean like, do you more so? Because obviously Tony pretty much stands on, if you're not married, like you should not necessarily be putting out this work.
I think that's probably, respectfully, man, I think that is
or you just have to frame the conversation. You have to frame the conversation. You have to say, this is not relationship advice. This is my dating experience.
Brother, I don't really think that, to your point, and to answer the question before, do I feel like that there are people that are not qualified to give general advice or relationship advice to a large percentage of the population? Absolutely. I think that there's people that are not qualified to my metrics. You know what I'm saying? I don't have a problem with somebody getting up here and saying, this is why I think this or I think that. But what I am saying is for us to not acknowledge the diversity in people and thought processes and ways in which relationships and love can work for many different people. That to me is hard to wrap my head around. That's the thing that I want to say. It's hard for me to wrap my mind around. It sounds elitist. It sounds like, you know what I'm saying? And then when you said something, Tony, respectfully, when you said you're working for the other side, brother, that's why a lot of people struggle. Because I think you're implying that the other side is the devil, right? Is that what you're implying?
Meaning you're working for the other side of providing confusion. Because if you have 6 voices on the stage and there's 6 different messages.
And we know who brings confusion, but the devil himself who brings the confusion. So yes, to me, because we're not, you know what, if somebody wants to be a commentator for sports, you know what, have at it. Okay? Let all these people do, you're talking about sports, I don't care. You're talking about ice cream, I don't care. You're talking about you're doing food, I don't care. But when it comes to this issue, we're talking about marriages, we're talking about relationships here. We're talking about things that affect people's lives. No, I don't think every Jim and Jack should be doing it. Because if you're doing it, you're bringing so much confusion, you're not helping, you're even causing more troubles. You know what I mean? So now if your foundation is as shaky as, I haven't watched anything about this guy, okay? But he is in this field. Trust and believe whatever else he's doing, he's bringing confusion. He shouldn't be doing it. He absolutely shouldn't be doing it because he's not grounded in God. His principles are is cultural principles. And you know what? Fads change, guys. You know what I mean? Like it's a fad, it's going to be this, it's going to be something else. You know what I mean? That's why godly principles, they don't change. So yes, there's people who are busy in this field. They are not helping, contrary to the popular opinion. You know what I mean? There was that gentleman, what's his name? Kevin Samuels. Okay? Yeah, so like I said, because these people are created in the image of God, they're going to say things that are actually true, okay? They'll say things that are actually true. But in large, they're not helping. So yes, Kevin Samuel said some things that are true. And how did he die, guys? of all the things that guy was preaching, we know how he ended up, how he died. So you were out here telling people they need to be this, they need to be that. And this is, you're finding yourself dying in someone else's home who wasn't your wife. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, so they're not even practicing what they're preaching. And whatever else they're saying, it's all tied to material things. Quote unquote, oh, this person has to be a high value man because what, they wear expensive things, all these other things, right? So it's just like, no. I do not believe those things are very helpful because they are not rooted in the truth. It's just things that people are just going to say, look, right now we have whatever they call the manosphere, or this, it's this type of nonsense that's causing too much damage even in our culture, in our society right now. But when you say something about it, people don't want to hear the truth. It's just like, oh, you guys are just heading. I have a clip from this gentleman who just got married. You know what I mean? That guy has been single. He was married 10 years and then single for almost 8 years. And then sitting on a couch teaching people about relationships. Are you telling me that for 8 years, this guy was just chilling, not messing around with anybody else, just waiting till he got married in November in 2025? Man, it's so crazy. All right. What are you guys saying before we continue? Bernard Whipple, good to see you. Most people don't go to church and learn what's right. Like, there's just certain things, like you might not even go to church, but sure, you do know right from wrong. You do know right from wrong, okay? So, like, every time, you cannot let culture dictate the affairs, right? We are in this world, but not of this world. Every time culture is dictating how we operate in our society, these are the troubles. We are reaping the things that we have sown. Yes, we're reaping the things that we have got. Michelle Nicole 678, good to see you. It is so hard finding a true Christian man too. Yes, that is true. Yes, that is true. But, be faithful. Be faithful. Keep praying. Keep praying. Okay? God was able to find a woman for Adam when there was nobody else. So the same God who did that for Adam is more than able to do it for you. So, be faithful and keep praying. Keep praying. The men are out there. The men are out there, but it's unfortunate that, even to be honest, there's actually good men who are being swept by this type of ideology, this type of thinking. So they just feel like, you know what? Let me just use the women, right? They don't want to commit. It's unfortunate. Yeah, it's unfortunate. So yeah, they are saying alignment. Oh, I didn't hear the alignment, Sandy. Oh, yeah, you don't have alignment and universe. Oh, no. What's another word for alignment? I need another word. I hear alignment. What I'm hearing is New Age. So is the word in the church or the word is the church? I think both, to be quite honest. You know what I'm saying? Like when you have Jamal Bryant, how long was he pastoring at that church? How long was he single? How many, girlfriends? You know what I mean? And did anybody ever care to disqualify that guy? And he's still preaching and pastoring right now. And that's a church. We do have a lot of synagogues of Satan disguise themselves as a church. And they bring a reproach of the name of Christ. They are, yeah, that's what I call them. How can someone choose who is able to talk about relationships? Because everyone can give advice. It might not work for everyone. Like you said, everyone is different. Yes, so the thing is, like right now, right? Just sitting here, just watching this too. I would not recommend S metaphor to anybody when it comes for people to go and listen to him about relationships. If he's out there, he's in Atlanta, maybe he's good with, rap music, whatever the case may be, maybe for that. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm not recommending Oprah Winfrey when it comes to relationships. Like, no, don't go there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So those are the things. There's people, like, let's not pretend like there ain't people in our society where you can actually get this advice. To be quite honest, most people on these internet streets and everything, like, you know what? Get advice to people within your community, people in your church. You know what I mean? People who know you. They'll actually even have more wisdom than what you're going to find in these streets. Because anybody can just turn on their phone and spew whatever else they want to spew. You know what I mean? Because this is kind of like a public square. So, you need to pick and choose. You need to be wise. The same thing, like the people you want to listen to, the people you want to follow, but it's best the people that are closest to you within your community. Because at this point, there's nothing to me. I cannot recommend him, but I have no authority to shut down his channel. There's nothing I can do, right? I can just warn people, like, you know what? This guy, watch out to him. The stuff that he's saying is not rooted, grounded in just general principles. It's not. With this, we're not even talking about chapters, verses, just general principles. That's not what this guy is for. He's going, it's the vibes, it's whatever the culture is saying. So, yeah, and to be honest, the things that popular in the mainstream, in the culture, is what most people are going to be attracted to. If Beyonce puts up a show, how many women are going to the concert, right? But she's out here doing some witchcraft, worshiping weird stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's unfortunate that the cultural things that are not helpful do, a lot of people are attracted to those things. So very unfortunate. All right, guys, let's continue. Here we go.
Messages, people leave more confused than they came. And if the people who we are seeing by the millions are not saying anything worthwhile, but it's a meaningless back and forth conversation that does not bring a solution, that does not help us build families, that does not help us better raise children, that does not help us climb the ladder as a people, as a group who are struggling economically, struggling relationally, struggling in every way. When we provide conversations that only bring confusion and don't bring clarity,
it don't seem like,
I mean by you working
it
for
don't seem, it don't seem like it really don't seem like, in my opinion, you actually pay much attention to what we got going on over here, brother. And that's respectfully. I'm respectfully saying that. I'm respectfully saying, when you can use the adjectives you want to use, and then you don't empty messages. You can use all these adjectives, but just because you're making these blanket statements, that's why I said it's dangerous. It's dangerous when you're making blanket statements without having all the factual information.
Statement. It's not a blanket.
It is a blanket statement. You're making blanket statements, and you're putting people's names in it. You're putting people's names in it.
I'm living this as a husband and a
your
father,
truth,
which is successful for
you.
You see, that's also the thing, right? Truth is objective. This is what we have right now. We live in a post-truth culture. People always use this. I hate it when people do this. Okay, my truth, your truth. There's no such thing. Truth is truth. Truth is objective. So if what Tony is saying, if it is true, it has to be true across the board. But when people start saying, oh, this is my truth, then that's just your opinion. And you can have as many opinions as you want. You are entitled to such things. So this is, we need to reclaim the language. We need to reclaim the definitions. But we're in trouble right now. Okay, so this Asa, he has millions of followers who do follow him. He trains people to, this relationship. They have panel and everything. So he's just not a nobody. He is somebody in this field. He is absolutely somebody in this field. But you can see, it's just, oh no, that's just what you want. You know what I mean? That's how you do it over there, Tony. Over here, we do it differently. And it's trouble. Okay, so what I say, Bernard Whipple. Okay, you did, for 10 years, you didn't date, but slept with one or two, but I wasn't dating because I didn't believe in dating unless it is with someone that I want to be with. So right there, right? So why would you sleep with somebody that you yourself are actually saying you have no plans of marrying, you have no plans of dating? You see what I'm saying? So you just did that. It was just casual for you. And one or two people, no big deal. So that's the issue that we are experiencing in our culture right now. So if you're not ready to marry somebody, if you're not ready to date somebody, then don't partake in those things, because those things are preserved for marriage. And yes, I do grant. Are people going to fall? Yes. Are we going to sin in that way? Yes, we are going to. Those are the things do happen, right? But that's not how God has designed things to be. So we shouldn't be promoting those things because we've done those things or people are doing those things or it's what the culture has deemed to be normal. It's not. So we should be promoting for people, you know what? If you're ready, get married. Pursue this relationship with pure intentions of putting a ring on it. Now, if things fail, things can fail, but you should have a clear conscience that your intentions was to honor that particular relationship. You see what I'm saying? Because like if it's whatever, if it's casual, this is the problem. Like oh, you know what? Why buy a cow if you can get free milk all day, every day? You see, all day, every day. Those are the things that we're not gonna do. But if you know, like this thing, I can only get it in the covenant marriage, then you know you're going to behave accordingly. But it's unfortunate right now. Like another woman might preserve, but there's other 10 women out there who are just like, you know what if. And right now we know we have OnlyFans. Before it used to be difficult. Right now, just OnlyFans. You know what I mean? So there's so many ways within our society that people are finding all the fulfillment they need without the commitment, which is very unfortunate. You know what I mean? It's very unfortunate. Yeah, because there's women out there. You know, go to your Instagram. You're going to see, you know, with the OnlyFans situation, we're going to see those things are not good for our society in any way, shape, or form. So like, what good thing can come out of from OnlyFans? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But how many young, beautiful women are participating on OnlyFans? Why? They're making good monies over there. Are they making good monies? Yes, they are making good monies. But is that the way? Is that the honorable way to earn a living? You know? Like, it's good. We need to be working, but you get the point, right? So these are the things that we, you know, it is the work of darkness. Let's just call it for what it is. It sounds good on paper, but it's a work of darkness. Yeah. But, you know, if you fall in those particular way, God is able to restore, redeem, and bring a restoration. But we cannot be out here and promote that, oh, it's okay for people to be doing things. No, it's a contradiction to the scriptures. It is not. All right, let's continue, guys. I'm so glad that you guys are here. Thank you for being here. Let's continue.
And for our community, it's not just for me. Principles are principles. So,
right, but your principle, you're not the only person with principles.
You're promoting casual sex. You're promoting hookup culture. And then you say, let me ask you this. You having a conversation? You watching me online. You say you appreciate my message. Why haven't you called me to your conversation?
You know what? Why he doing all that? Look, why you doing all that? Now listen, he doing all that.
You say you bringing all the voices. You say you bringing all.
Whoa! You doing all that? You doing all that?
How you not gonna call somebody who got 3.5 million people online and have been in the trenches since 2007, but you bringing all the sides? You ain't bringing all the sides. You ain't bringing all the sides. You bringing the side that you want to bring, and then you trying to take me to task for my words, and you trying to hold me for every word, but you didn't catch that you just call what you doing a play. I call what I do purpose.
What do you? I don't know what you mean about a play.
You just said I'm so focused on my play.
So plate, PLATE, plate. This is the last. I messaged you March 10th. Yo, would love to feature you on my podcast. We're shooting April 28th, 29th. Any interest? And then it was like an automatic reply that said you don't receive messages, so I didn't attempt that way again. Well, brother, like, respect.
Yeah, bro, I got a website, man. You know how to reach me. I got a website.
Man, I'm 35, brother. We do things a little differently.
I'm 39, bro. Don't act like you at another generation.
So here's the thing. It sounds like we might be seeing TG on the tonight's conversation. That's what it sounds like.
With just him and Ace, by the way. That's enough. That's enough for the stage. Just him and Ace.
Because you know you can't put this Ace. You know you can't put a brother like this on the stage with anybody that's even halfway single. Now here's the thing. Here's what I want to ask about this.
I don't mind being single people. What I'm saying is frame the conversation. We can't let it go out as relationship advice. This is a single experience, or this is a hookup experience, or this is I'm divorced and I'm telling you what went wrong in my marriage. But this is going out to the millions as relationship advice. And so what I'm saying is, if you send the message of a single man who is having sex with women and dating, if you send that message viral, give the equal pressure and push of the therapist that you say you have on there, or the married person that you say you have on there who is happy and healthy, and do that split test of A and B so that it balances the conversation. Anytime I see something from tonight's conversation, it's on the same side of the line, and it is very confusing. I don't know what I just heard, what the purpose of it was. It's a man arguing at a woman arguing at a man, and there's no solution, there's no takeaway. It's all sensationalism. And one thing that I know is happening is money is being made, but there's no progress being made. And then a lot of times, if it's progress, we're gonna feel it. And so my thing is, I'm not with the confusion and the games. I'm very direct in what I say. I'm very real about what I stand on. And at this stage in our life, especially in the Black race, we need results. We need solutions. We need progression. We need
we
need healthy families.
So I want to respond to that because again,
are you married?
No, I'm not. Again,
so how
hey brother, I done let you get your long little monologues out, and I just want to respond. What I'm saying to you is, I wish you would say I more when you speak. This is how I feel. This is what I think. This is the path. Because my only issue with what you're saying is you're not including that, brother. If that works for you, great. But you have to understand the people that come ask questions that are at our shows, they're asking about them having casual sex. They're asking about this heartbreak that they didn't experience. They're asking about how do they find themselves again, how to have self-forgiveness, how to do this, that, and other. They're asking about a host of different things, brother. And sometimes I'm the most qualified person to speak to their experience or to give them advice on it. Sometimes it's Kitty. Sometimes it's Trip, the person you said, oddly, never been that guy, but I've known Trip since we were kids and he's always been that guy. My point I'm trying to make is it would probably benefit to do a little bit more homework here. You know what I'm saying? And that's me being respectful. And then when you speak to every clip that you've seen, every 60-second clip that you've seen may speak more about your algorithm than you think. Brother, we post a host of different clips. If you go down our page right now, you'll see 4 or 5 clips on forgiveness. You'll see 4 or 5 clips on motherhood. You'll see 4 or 5 clips on us progressing as Black people in this country. And my point is, even further, if you want to actually watch the episodes, you'll get a further context. Brother, I can't speak for your algorithm, brother. Yes, we post a whole different.
Let me not on my algorithm. I'm just correcting you. Not on my algorithm.
Let me finish. I let you finish your monologues.
No, I just don't want you to put out false things because we do grab.
Like you are.
I'm just letting you know that it's not from my algorithm.
Right. So if you haven't, so what I'm saying is, if you haven't properly, this is my thing, and I respect your work, and I would love to have you on the panel. I think even coming to a show, you would see how different of an experience than what you think it actually is, how it would be. But what I would say is this: whether it's your algorithm or not, whether it's people sending it to you or not, yes, we post we host and field a whole bunch of different questions from people from different walks of life and experiences. And so, yes, one question may be quote unquote sensationalized, but that was a real question from an audience member. This question might be like, man, how do I find my confidence again after postpartum depression? And that's a clip that got just as many viral views. This question might be about somebody having casual sex and being flown out. But this question was about a woman saying, you know what, I feel like a single mother, even though I'm married. What do I do? And that clip got 10, 15 million views too. I can't speak to just a few clips that you've seen. And so when you're using that to frame, when you're using that to frame and say,
hey, calm down though, bro. Because you're getting a little too much bass in your voice. So
I gotta, stop it every now and then. So the problem that these people are not, I don't even think Asa gets the idea of what Tony was explaining to him. He just thinks, you do your thing, I do my thing. What I'm doing over here, it's working. No, it cannot work. Because if you're not operating according to the principles, you're operating to something else. So you're always going to have those people, whether he knows it or not. The other thing that people always forget, remember, like God is not mocked in all these things, right? If God has designed sex to be, for marriage, sex does bond people. So when these people are having all these casual encounters, they are having trouble because they simply cannot let go. Because it's like, okay, you are attaching yourself to all these people, right? And nothing is coming out of it. It's a very sad situation, but...
Mr. Gaskins. Mr. Gaskins. Mr. Gaskins, first of all, here's the thing. Anybody has watched my videos know I talk that way. Brother, when you say some stuff like that, you know what you're saying, dog. What I'm saying is you got on a platform and you're spreading misinformation. You're spreading misinformation. You say don't spread misinformation about an algorithm, but you got on this platform and you've already admitted that you ain't really deep dived in our content, and you speaking as if you know what we are doing. And so when you want to take your bait,
listen, I got a question.
That's what he's doing.
1 second.
Hey, so let me ask you this question, because we got the super chats coming in, and I think this is a question that the chat really wants to know. And shout out to Beautified by Lorraine. She says, if the goal is marriage, how can someone give relationship advice that leads to a successful marriage if they are not married?
So the answer to the question is, if that person's individual goal is marriage. I want to first say that. If that person's individual goal is marriage, that's one thing. And for that being said, there are people, to Tony's point, that have navigated that course and can give better insight if the goal is to be married. And you can look at to their track history. This is why we have married people on our panel.
Okay.
But not everybody's goal in dating is marriage. Brothers, for every one person that's dating to try to find marriage, there's 3 or 4 people dating just to find themselves. There's 4 or 5 people dating in an experimental way. There's 6 or 7 people dating just to distract themselves from a heartbreak. So not everybody that's out here dating is dating to be married. And some people are dating just for fun. They're dating from a recreational sense. We can up here.
Well, yeah, what Esa is saying is actually true. And these are the things that are actually happening. But the question is that a good thing? The answer is no. You're not going to find yourself by dating casually. You're not going to find yourself by if you're heartbroken, you going out there doing all these casual encounters, it's not going to solve anything. If anything, you're just piling trouble upon trouble upon trouble. And yes, it's unfortunate that the people are out there. So the idea, if he was grounded, then he shouldn't be promoting that message. The message is to tell those people, like, no, you are doing it wrong. You shouldn't be dating to find yourself. You shouldn't be doing casual things, casual encounters. That is wrong. That does not solve anything. It has never solved any woman's problem or any man's problem. If anything, you're just creating more problems than you started. And that's just a fact. What good thing can come out of with all these encounters? If anything, you find yourself getting some diseases out there, Like, no, that's not it. If people want to find themselves, why can't they go for counseling? Why can't they go for therapy? What is it that's happening in their life that they need to find themselves? Do they need to make some adjustment? There's so many other things there, but you going out with Jim and Jack, it's unfortunate.
Here on this podcast say, oh, in a perfect world, everybody would be dating for marriage, but this world ain't perfect. Most of your listeners have been led on or misled or time has been wasted on somebody they thought was intentionally dating, but that person was just recreational or experimental dating. So my point is, yes, if the goal is marriage and 2 people link and both of their goals are united as marriage, yes, a spiritual path for that is and spiritual advice is a good place to start. Somebody like Tony will be a great place to start, but getting to a person and finding a person and avoiding people that are not there to get you there is also a path too. And there are people that have been in this dating situation so long that they know how to recognize red flags a little bit better than people that haven't. And so those people have a voice too, and those people reach people too. So for us to act like we live in this idealistic world where everything is how it should be, and we're not dealing with a whole bunch of BS in this dating situation, I just think is out of touch, for real.
Now let me say this, because it's some people in the chat now that's a little worried. The thing is, both of y'all are leaders in the space, regardless of who likes what. Both of y'all got millions of.
Man, that man told me to take some bass out of my voice, and that crossed the line to me.
Listen, Ace,
that was crossing the line.
Cross the line when you got the bass in your voice, bro. You hear what I'm saying?
Bro, I always got bass in my voice.
Listen, guys, I really don't want to have to end this conversation.
Keep the love.
Because I do got just one more question. Because like I was saying,
I felt like that was unprofessional. It really was.
Hey, stop with the gaslighting. It was unprofessional with you yelling. So we having a conversation.
Fellas.
And what you got to realize is what I'm telling you is, I understand.
Yo, have you seen any of my videos, bro?
To be fair, Asa was getting heated up there. He was getting heated up.
Yes, I've seen your videos.
How do I do my videos?
What did I say?
Wait, fellas, I don't want to get too caught up in the conversation about this, because
that's what I try to tell y'all though. This is what I try to tell y'all. If y'all want to bring Ace on here, let Ace come on here and talk. If you bring me on here, let me talk. Because I don't, where God bring clarity, the devil bring confusion. All this is,
there you go again, bro.
More people. And so I stand on what I stand on, bro. I draw a line in the sand. You trying to placate to everybody and their mama. I don't care about what this lifestyle, that lifestyle. I'm focused on what's better for the people. And one thing that I see is that a 2-parent household, with healthy love is always going to be a child's choice if they have a choice. If they forced to be with one parent, then they will accept that. But if they get to choose, they're going to say, I want two parents in the home, exemplifying love, supporting me. I could talk to this parent about this. I could talk to that parent about this. Life is not about doing what makes us feel good and what we want. Life is about purpose, and it's about doing what hurts sometimes. Life is about doing what we have to do, not what we want to do. Do you think as a man that I just want? It's not that I just want to be with one woman. I have to die out to myself. I have to crucify my flesh for the good of my family, for the good of society, for the betterment of the world. So yes, somebody may want to just hook up. Somebody may be dating to heal. But when they want to do that, we need to be there to say, hey, you should not be dating to heal. You need to heal before you deal. You should not be dating to just hook up, because you are having sexually transmitted diseases, and you can catch a physically transmitted disease that alters your life. So it's not about just giving a platform. Not everybody want to live life legally, but we don't need to give a platform to people who want to live illegally. Not everybody want to do half of the things right, but we don't need to give them a platform for the sake of let's let everybody speak when they speaking from their mess, when they speaking from their brokenness, when they speaking from their pain. So it's a time and a place for everything. And you give a space to people who are doing what is good for society as a whole. It's not just about making money. It's not just about touring and being famous. And the thing about it is if you're having these conversations every night on tonight's conversation, and the conversation is productive, then you should be able to see one of the multiple millions of women who are qualified to be your wife. So if your own conversations can't help you find your wife and settle down and be married and have a family with your wife, then what is the point of these conversations if the creator can't even benefit from it? So
brother,
that's my point.
Ace,
brother, hold on. Let me.
Oh, shots fired. Shots fired. You'll be like, no, if you're out here, it sounds good, but has no script. Yeah. So, yes, he did, yeah. I don't think I've heard him speaking highly of TD Jakes. You know what I mean? I'm like, but he did call out Jamal Bryant. So I'm like, okay, at least you do know Jamal Bryant. Cannot be. He doesn't have to be praised. But, he did, he says good things that, yes, I do absolutely do agree. But I do think he's not as theologically solid as I would love for him to be. I'll put it like that. So, yeah, good point, Sandy there. So, Bernard, what is dating for recreational? I'll answer that. I'll take it in good faith. So, yeah, like, but you shared with me over here what you did over here for, 10, whatever, that's what that is. Okay, so it will just be, you're just out there having a good time. You know what I mean? You're just having encounters with no purpose, with no nothing. You're just out there having a good time, so to speak. There's no intentions. You have no plans of settling down. You have no plans of putting a ring on it. You're just doing it just because you can. And you're just doing it with as many people as you want. So, yeah. So that falls under recreational dating. Yeah. But, what he said over there is true. I'll take him over what this Asa guy is saying, almost just making it like, okay, let people do whatever else they want to do, okay. Yeah. It starts with the foundation of love. People don't know what love is. But a lot of people have their own definition of love. Yeah, so what is love? Yes, absolutely. Yes, yep, exactly, yep. God defines what love is. God defines what love is. But, yeah, people can be doing all sorts of things thinking that's loving. It's not. You know what I mean? Oh, I was born this way. Oh, rainbow, just let them be because it's loving. No. Love is love, as they call it. Like, oh, no. This is sin. We call it sin. But, everything has changed right now. They call evil good and good evil. Judgment.
Let me respond to them. See, hold on. No, let me respond to my man.
No, I got you. I want you to give a closing statement here because we're gonna wrap this one up. And Ace, if you really want to have another conversation continued, we're gonna talk outside of this. But please go ahead and give your closing statement here so we can continue the show.
What I'm saying is, my man right there just throwing a whole bunch of he don't know what he's talking about around. I'm in a committed relationship.
You sure?
I'm working. brother, I let you, every time I start to talk, you want to interrupt. I didn't interrupt you. I let you get your stuff off, bro. I even let you say you got too much bass in your voice. I let you get the whole little rah-rah out. What I'm trying to tell you is what my particular issue here is when you speak, brother, you're dismissing a whole bunch of other voices just because it doesn't sound like yours. What I said in the beginning of this conversation is I respect your voice, brother. It resonates with me because that's the way I grew up. So I've been a fan of yours for a while. I was disappointed in your clip though, because what you are saying is I have the only way to make this work. I and voices like me is how this can be more successful. No one is disagreeing about two-parent households. This is something we talk about routinely on tonight's conversation. No one is disagreeing with safe sex. We talk about that routinely, brother. We talk about routinely heal before you start dating. Find who you are before you link yourself with somebody. Identify your identity before you merge yours with another person. These are things we consistently talk about. My ending thought to you, man, is I would suggest before name dropping, maybe you do a little bit more research. And if you don't want to do more research, then maybe don't name drop. That's all I'm simply saying to you, brother, because I felt like even through talking to you now, I feel like you even admitted that you're not even tapped in. And if you're not tapped in, why are you giving opinions about things you ain't tapped in on? You the one that brought my name up, brother. You the one that keep bringing up money and fame and all this different stuff when you don't even know why my purpose is this. You ain't sat and had one conversation with me, but you insinuating on the internet. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I feel like that's disrespectful man to man, brother, because I ain't never spoke ill on your name online. I respect what you're doing. Show some respect for other people that's doing similar things just for different people, brother. That's all I'm saying. And if you want to speak like that, cool. But you got to understand people might have a problem with it. And I have a problem because I feel like you're misinformed.
Well, Ace, listen, first of all, I appreciate you for coming up here and us having conversations as men that have two different perspectives and still able to talk it out today. Listen, I'm going to hit you up outside of this conversation, but thank you so much.
Put some respect on my name. Put some respect on my name. Oh, man. That's interesting. That's interesting. Well, so that did not end there because he decided to respond. Okay? Man, I guess all these, they must be in Atlanta. They are all in ATL. All right. So here is some of the, what I'm saying, Sandy? That was, yeah, these are the relations. Is it Esa? Yes, Esa metaphor. S metaphor. I think that's S metaphor. Just like, okay, quite interesting. So I guess Tony must have rubbed people in the wrong way. And there's quite a few people who decided to what? To respond to him. And watch this, okay? I couldn't find this video, but someone else had it, so we can watch it. Here we go, guys. Let me just make sure. All right, here.
And value and honor. Had something to say negative about me in the video. Listen to what Tony Gaskins had to say about your boy.
And the guy who is giving everybody in this type of sin a platform, the terrorist, you know, I believe he is a wolf in sheep's clothing with that Wifey podcast, and he dear Wifey because to my understanding he cheated on his wife and divorced her or something like that.
So how did the world know about my indiscretions, Tony? Because I shared it as a cautionary tale to help prevent others from making that same mistake. Yeah, and I've been divorced since 2015.
And so to be married and then go through a divorce and then do a podcast called Dear Future Wifey, it's like it needs to be Dear Ex-Wife, I'm sorry. And every podcast, every episode needs to be about apologizing to your ex-wife.
Now, that's interesting. Me and my ex have been cool for about 8 years now. Been divorced for about 9. Been divorced since 2015. Matter of fact, we're so cool that she represented me in closing on my house last year for my future wifey. Matter of fact, she's the one who gave me permission to talk about the adulterous affairs that I had when I launched the podcast in 2020. And I've been divorced, 5 years at that point? And she commended me for being transparent and taking full accountability for my actions. Yeah, I always lead and say that I don't blame her for my affairs, that I cheated because I had a lack of integrity.
But to me, that's, and y'all know these terms and all of this stuff better than me, but to me, that's gaslighting. I feel like that's social abuse.
So you're saying me admitting my mistakes is gaslighting? Yeah, you're right. You don't know what that word means. So stop using words outside of your vocabulary. Gaslighting is a type of psychological abuse that involves making the victim question their own reality, thoughts, and emotions. Yeah, it's funny how you say that I'm gaslighting when your last name starts with the word gas, Ken Folk.
But one of the things that podcast, that the guy, which me personally, I can't trust a man with a woman name, Lateris. That sounds like a woman name to me. But the fact that I'm out here and I'm a loud voice in this space, and he never once reached out to me to come on his podcast. And people have said they have suggested my name, and that he wrote them back and said, I would love to have him and his wife on the podcast, which is a no-go, because everybody knows my wife doesn't have a desire to sit on a couch and talk, or to be a speaker, or to be a life coach. And as you see, that is of God, because for one, the Bible talks to us about these things. And my wife, she's more biblical in the sense of the part of the Bible where it says that it's circumstances in the Bible where a woman is called to speak. But outside of that, in certain regions of where the word was being taught, not every woman was called to speak. Not every woman was authorized to speak.
Of course, I asked for you and your wife to come on the podcast. I mean, she's the recipient of this amazing relationship advice that you give. Why wouldn't I want her to be on the podcast to share y'all's love journey? I believe people could be healed and touched and set free from hearing this amazing love that you guys share. As a matter of fact, I encourage all my married guests to bring their spouses on the podcast. It creates a more balanced interview. But now, if your wife is shy and doesn't like being in front of the camera, I totally understand that. Now, it's new to me that you didn't believe that a woman should speak publicly unless she's been anointed to do so. We're not talking about preaching a sermon. We're talking about literally doing an interview about your relationship. But again, that's your household. It ain't got nothing to do with me.
A few moments later, the company was trying to produce a show. I can't even remember what it was about. It could have been a matchmaking show or something, me and my wife, or it could have been another show. It was just me. But me and my wife had a matchmaking show in the works, and they said she stole the show. She was way better on camera than me.
Something ain't adding up here. Y'all were about to have a whole matchmaking show years ago, but asking the two of y'all to come on Dear Future Wifey is a no-go? Make that make sense. Bro, I ain't got nothing but love for you. Real talk. And there's always a seat for you on the yellow couch. I invite you to come on Dear Future Wifey podcast so you and I can chop it up like two brothers, two Christian brothers. And I still don't got beef with you. I'm pescatarian.
Now, before I play this next video, I gotta ask, did Lateris really invite Tony Gaskins and his wife on the show? Or is Tony Gaskins lying? Now, 9 months ago, Tony went viral on Hardly Initiated podcast for exposing fake dating coaches, which was the same podcast Lateris Whitfield was on back in April of this year. Well, one of the people Tony debated was Ace. The debate got extremely heated, and Ace got exposed for who he truly is. Another person Tony mentioned in the video was Danae, ex-wife of Derek Jackson, who was also on Lateris' podcast last year, talking about losing her identity while being married to a narcissist. Tony said that her spirit is ugly and that she worked for Satan. She's known for just creating books and courses and charging a fortune for them. And that she knew not to go to him for coaching because he would hold her accountable for fleecing women. And so what we see here is Tony pretty much have a reputation for calling a spade a spade. And people who don't like being held accountable will oftentimes feel intimidated by those who are holding them accountable or speaking the truth. And Tony, for the most part, has always came off as a straight shooter, which is why I find it really hard to believe that Lateris invited Tony and his wife on the show.
Marriages expire too soon because you're not linked with the purpose partner that God desired for you to be with, and that person needs, if you're the right person for that person, your marriage should never grow apart. It should never get bored. It should never get stagnant, because as y'all continue to evolve, and we all know that I wasn't the same person, I'm 46, I wasn't the same at 36, and definitely wasn't the same at 26. And so if you're with the right person, they'll be able to evolve with you through all those stages that you go through and those time capsule releases that keep happening. What I need at 46, she's able to give me at 46. What she needed at 52, I'm able to give her at 52 if we're tethered to the heart of God, and that time capsule release keeps releasing with each other, and y'all do life together.
I want to touch on something really quick, because I had to block two more people who are still stuck on a situation.
So apparently this was a big hoopla that involved all these relationship gurus, and it was all coming against Tony, and Tony was fending off everybody. So this is him now responding, okay? Watch this.
Situation. The other day, I called out a podcaster. I was actually talking about a pastor who divorced his wife and got remarried. And I was talking about another pastor who divorced his wife and got remarried. And I was talking about another guy who went through 2 divorces and is, he's giving relationship advice, but hasn't gotten it right or implemented the advice he's giving. and people go on the same podcast, and I'm sitting and I'm wondering, like, why is there a space where you have no accountability and everybody just trying to say, oh, you know, everybody could say something, everybody can give advice, but what's happening is in this space there are women who are broken, women who are hurting, women who are lost. They coming in, they're looking at these men and they are connecting with these men. And then these men who are single, they sleeping with these women, but they calling themselves a man of God. And so I said the name of a podcaster, and a lot of people got up in arms because of what I said and how I said it. Not understanding that that's just how I communicate. That's just my thoughts, my feelings. And I stand on that. And what they're forgetting is that the individual that I mentioned is claiming to be a man of God, but sleeping with the followers, sleeping with women in fornication after sitting with pastors and bishops. And I just don't think that should be. I don't think we should be playing in God's face. I don't think that we should be talking about something. It's kind of like if you
I can't tell who he was referring to at this point, but my suspicions were on Jamal, given that this is all in Atlanta. That's my suspicion.
talk about finance. So we got the big podcast, EYL. They take care of business. They do their thing. They talking about finance. But imagine if they were talking about finance and then they were going out and taking people's money, like telling people, hey, I got an investment for you. And then they invest and then they run off on them. It's the same thing if men are talking about love and relationships and creating spaces to talk about love and relationships, and then they sleeping with the women who coming to get help. And that right there, that angers me. But the thing about this is I moved on from that, and I'm on this series talking about this spirit of deception, but everybody assumes that I'm still talking about that guy. And I'm like, I'm not thinking about him. Y'all keep bringing the guy name to me. I don't care nothing about that guy. He got the answer to God for living in fornication after sitting with bishops and pastors and being friends with bishops and pastors, but can't come out of sin. He got the answer to God. I'm not talking about him. The Little Ugly series is about the spirit that is rampant in the body of Christ. I'm talking to the guy who goes to the church with 25 members and he done slept with 3 other women in there and he a deacon. I'm talking to the principal and the head coach who are men of God, but they cheating on their wife. I'm talking to the men who are telling women that they need to lay down with them and have sex with them and be in a sexual covenant with them, even though they know the woman trying to walk with God. But this woman is submitting to these men and getting in the bed because they feel like if they don't sleep with the man, then the man gonna leave them. I'm not talking to no raggedy podcaster. I'm not even thinking about no raggedy podcaster. Y'all keep bringing the man name up. This way bigger than him. Ain't nobody worried about that. So stay out my comments. And if you are so blind that you will sit up under men who claim to be one thing and then show you another, and then they come tell you that they are fraud, tell you that they are not living the message that all of their friends and family and guests are preaching, and they disrespecting God, disrespecting their friends and family by living in willing sin. If you will sit there and listen to somebody, you deserve everything that's coming to you. But stay off my page. We doing a work in the body, and you focusing on minute detail. People don't understand that's what the spirit does. It says, hey, focus on the fact that I was offended because Tony Gaskins said something about my birth name. Let's focus on that. But I want you to not think about the fact that I'm promoting God and claiming to be a man of God, but then living in fornication. Let's not focus on that. Let's not focus on the act that could create HIV, herpes, get somebody pregnant, the act that's creating broken homes, the act that's mocking God, the act that is deceiving women, manipulating. Let's not focus on that. Let's focus on the fact that Tony Gaskins said he don't like my name. Like, let's be real. Like, be real. But that is what the spirit does. It deflects and it projects in order to hide in plain sight. And that's how people are being deceived. So listen, that's something you got to take up with yourself. And one of you come on my page, you getting blocked. So you might as well save your little dissertations and all of that. Look, I said what I said, and I stand on what I said. When I see a man, I evaluate a man, I read a man, I look at his spirit, and how I feel about him is how I feel about him. And you better be glad that I didn't use other words and other names, because I could have used way worse words. I could have used way worse. I could have came up with all kind of stuff, because one thing I don't play by is when we playing with God. You could play with me. You play with my name. You can spit on my name, but don't be out here playing with
a deity, a power that people are looking up to, worshiping, trying to get closer to, and y'all playing in the name of the Lord. Y'all deceiving and manipulating in the name of the Lord. Y'all talking about God told you this, God told you that. God okay with you living in willing sin and wallowing in sin and being a filthy sinner, just oh, don't judge me. When if you truly believe in God, then you know God can grant you the power to walk uprightly and to walk the way you're supposed to be walking. So please understand that I am not thinking about no raggedy podcasters and these false teachers and all of these people. This spirit is bigger than that. And as I'm addressing this stuff, if the shoe fit, wear it. A hit dog holler. But I'm not finna be talking about, oh, I'm so sorry about saying something about somebody's name, when it's women crying because they went to a space that they thought they finna learn about godly relationships, and then they end up in a defiled bed in fornication from the speakers and the teachers that's sitting on the couch doing the interviews, and from the host of these podcasts. And it ain't just one podcast. We got podcasts with all kind of people running their mouth and don't know what they talking about, and the men is setting up. And if you look at these men, you will realize when you look at these men, you could tell what they doing and why they're doing it. Because if it wasn't true, then they would not be in fornication. They would not have to admit to fornication. The reason why fornication is getting admitted to is because of voices like mine, and they start to shaking their boots and think like, I don't want to get exposed. What if one of these women come tell that I'm actually going against God and not living what the people I'm around is preaching? And just because I'm not saying it don't mean I'm exempt and I could live in this type of sin, but claim to be something else. Like, man, shut up. Get out my face. Stop with all these excuses. Ain't no grown man finna be sitting up crying about what another man said about his name. It's like, get real. Like, we men. And then, especially the man y'all talking about, he told me he used to shoot at people and he used to get shot at. That man don't care nothing about what I'm talking about, what no name. But what he care about is deflecting from the fact that he is promoting one thing and living another. And I'm calling it out. And I'm not going to shut up. And I don't know, and this series might go on forever. But what you got to realize, the series ain't about one person. And if you ever take the time and get out your ignorance and take that wool off your eyes and that blindness off your eyes, and you even look at a comment, you're going to see men and women saying, man, you describing my ex. Man, you describing the person I was with. Man, you describing my friend, how my friend be doing me. This spirit is bigger than that. But people who feel little, people who feel insignificant, they try to take something and make it about them. They try to take everything and make it about them. The same way how a man know when I'm talking about him because I say his name, you messing with the wrong one. If I want to say somebody's name, if it's just about them and for them, I'm going to say their name. Like, what I look like? When you ever seen me scared? When you ever seen me not give a message because somebody offended? Godly sorrow leads to repentance. Worldly sorrow leads to death. If you upset by the way somebody's name was addressed or how I feel about somebody's name, that is worldly sorrow. But you're not mad about the women being deceived, the women being slept with, the women who going into these audiences and they believe in the people that's sitting up there, and then they paying thousands and thousands of dollars for a fake course that was created by ChatGPT, and then they taking and they investing in real estate funds and investing in different ventures and losing $30,000. I'm the one who working with these people. I'm working with people who done lost $95,000, $30,000. All this different money because they went to a podcaster, sit on the stage, listen to one of the people talking, then go buying courses and investing in the people. I'm the one working with the people who, after they done sit and listen to all this talking. Next thing you know, they end up deceived and in a defiled bed because they put trust in there. We got women who are delusional. We got women who are desperate. We got women who can't see the forest for the trees. It's been about 30, 40, 50 women that done come to my page talking about, oh, you said something about this man's name and that's his birth name. Okay, and he a grown man who is sinning against God. Better be glad I'm talking about his name instead of God laying the butt down. Talking about all of this right here. Oh, I love the Lord and I'm all this. But I'm...
I know. This is... On Sunday... Yeah, you didn't... This one, I mean, but what he's saying, I'm like... Yeah, like, oh, yeah, Sunday, yeah, you need to have one, okay? It's time for you to have a channel. So that's Tony, right? So you know what's going on in ATL. So it's always like, you can surmise who are the people he's talking about. Just, oh, he's a grown man, he's going to have a couch, have these women. It is true, to be quite honest. Because I find it hard to believe all these women are coming in to exclusively speak to these relationship gurus who happen to be single, and you couldn't find a woman in all these women, but you're out here dating. Like what I said, like I find it hard to believe that these men are preserving themselves that one day when they get married. No, they are in no hurry. They are able to get whatever else they're getting right now. And there is quite a lot of women who are delusional for sure. Okay. Everybody's just hoping. There's a lot of, my understanding, there's a lot of women, not a lot of men, especially when it comes to marriage material. And yeah, it will create all these things. So I guess Tony wasn't having it. It was just like, you know what? I'm just going to call it for what it is. And just like, yeah, it is true. Just like, wait a minute. What's going on? What is going on? And then the problem is these people pretend to be Christians. So if you're out here, you're Christian, what are you doing messing around with women who are not your wives? Okay? So, yeah. So, he wasn't wrong. All right, fine. Let's watch a little bit more. I was just like,
Imperfect. How you gonna let somebody spit in your face and then you sit there and just stand there? How you gonna let somebody tell you that they finna play in your face? Tell you they finna play with the name of God. Tell you that they finna sit with this bishop, sit with that bishop, sit with this pastor, sit with that pastor, sit with this woman who'd have been abused, who'd have been cheated on, who'd have been dogged out, and kiki in her face, then get up and go get in fornication. You sound stupid. Like, really wake up. But then people get so sensitive. You listening to music that's all kind of cussing, all kind of killing. And then you want to come to me talking about, oh, you picking on a man's birth name. You watching TV shows that is ratchet and filthy. You listening to music that is written by people that is in satanic worship. You going to concerts with satanic worship and then come to me talking about, oh, you picking on another man's name. That was one sentence in an hour and a half conversation. But that's what the spirit does. The spirit deflects because the spirit don't want you to focus on the hypocrisy in the body. The spirit don't want you to focus on the blasphemy in the body. So the spirit wants to have personal offense to create a line of defense of delusional and deceived women to send them out as a front line to go fight their battles in the physical world and ignore what's going on in the spiritual world. You better sit down and get in your Bible. You go to my YouTube and you look at the community page where I posted a little passage from my reading this morning. Where was I at 4:45 a.m.? I was in my word. If God got a message to get to me, he's not finna send it through no delusional person who is sitting up under somebody who is a walking hypocrite, who is sleeping with women, but claiming to know God, to want to know God, to love God, and got friends and family who are walking with God, but yet living in willing sin over and over and over. God not finna send me no message from somebody who is that delusional, who can't see a spirit playing right in their face. Like, get a life. Get a life. Like, I'm not worried about that. It's like if you call by God and you love the Lord and you do the work of the Lord, then you already know that if you are pure and you doing work, it's gonna be opinions about you. You already know that. So I'm not gonna get offended by what somebody's saying about me. Somebody wrote me like, Tony, yeah, people going live about you. You know what I did? I just could read that right there. I deleted the message. I ain't even opened the message. I'm not going to check on nobody live. But this is the thing. You already know how humans are today. How in the world you gonna fight somebody battle like you defending somebody who is, you don't know how they living behind closed doors, and defending people who will come out and tell you. We got podcasters today and leaders today and people in influence today. Hey, I'm going to everybody. I'm not talking to one person. I'm talking to the spirit that is running rampant. Do you think the one man who keep claiming, oh, he struggled with fornication, you think he the only one? You think I'm finna dedicate my hard-earned time to address one person when this is happening all over the world? And I have to deal with the fallout of it every day. When there's women on the phone crying to me about this person, this deacon, this leader, this author, this speaker, this football coach, this basketball coach, this celebrity man who done deceived her, played her, future fake her, hung a ring in her face, and then y'all want to sit here as grown people. We come out of slavery. We done been shot at. We got kids dying in the street. We got kids killing kids. We got all kinds of, we got women being raped. We got women being beat. And here y'all, you talked about his birth name. What? We done grew up on the schoolyard, getting talked on, getting picked on, getting everything. You talked about his birthday. God changed people's name. God, your name was this, now your name this. I don't like your name. Your name was Saul, now you Paul. We talking about a name. I need to call Allen Iverson on here. We talking about a name. When you got women who could catch spiritually transmitted diseases sitting out here in the audience because they sleeping with the podcast host. You got women who could catch sexually transmitted diseases. Women who could have soul ties for the rest of their life. Women who could be on her last leg. Women who got trauma, so much trauma, they say, I'm not fit to be a wife. And the man say, yeah, you right. Let me go ahead and let me go sit down and cry about it to everybody. So once again, I could be a victim. And, the lady say I'm too good to be her husband. So yeah, you right. Sit over there by yourself. Keep struggling. Even though I'm out here in fornication and doing all of this right here. Yeah, stay on over there. Let me go and keep on going. And all this future faking. All this right here going on. But all that is ignored to focus on what I said about somebody's name. But not having the history and the biography and understanding why I say what I say and how I read spirits, how I read people, how I look at people. And that's what you got to realize. And people talking about, oh, he judgmental. It ain't just, it's accountability. The judge has a gavel. When the judge hit the gavel, you got eternity in heaven or you got eternity in hell. I'm not a judge. I'm a sounding board. I'm accountability. I'm sending the warning message. I'm sending the warning shots. Get right before you get destroyed. Stop playing with the name of God. Stop playing in God's face. That's the problem with Christianity today. You see in other religions, you play with they deity, you lose your actual life. We as Christians, we want to sit and we let the adversary put the wool over our eyes and we fall victim under the thing of thou shalt not. It don't even say thou shalt not judge. It tell you not to judge because how you judge, you gonna be judged. So it tell you to get what's in your eye out of your eye before you try to help somebody else get out of their eye. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I'm 100% faithful to my wife. But I used to have that spirit, what I'm calling little ugly, when I was 18 to 21. And I'm still seeing that spirit in men who are 35 and 40, 43 years old. Men who done already been married and messed up the marriage, but still got the same spirit. Still ain't learned no lesson. That's who I'm talking to. I'm calling the little boy that the demons is dealing with inside these grown-bodied men. I'm calling that out the body. But y'all want to sit here and talk, oh, I don't like your delivery. Listen. How you don't like how a man call out another man and talk to another man, you gonna appreciate it when a man going upside your head. You gonna appreciate it when a man sticking his thing in you, then going and sticking his thing in somebody else. You gonna appreciate it if it's your daughter sitting in that congregation and that man who got a platform is playing on your daughter, playing on your niece, playing on your sister, playing on your mama. You gonna appreciate it then. Don't tell a man to hold a man accountable and then try to tell a man how to hold a man accountable. And then focus on the minute and ignore the major. You're majoring in the minor. Oh, you said something about somebody's birth name and the person who gave them their name, they done went on to heaven. Everybody got to go to heaven, and everybody who got a name, the person who named them got to go to heaven. But what we talking about is eternity. We talking about salvation. We not focused on a name. Your name should be child of God. And if it ain't child of God, you shouldn't be worried about it. Get your life right. Get out that sin. Stop being apologetic. Stop just, oh, yeah, I'm imperfect. I'm all this, y'all. But hey, y'all forgive the fact that I'm blaspheming God. Y'all forgive the fact that I'm in fornication when I'm sitting around all this holy people and all these people preaching a good word. Y'all forgive that. Y'all forgive all that and just focus on the fact that somebody called me out and somebody don't like my name. Just focus on that. Yeah, I got to go to a meeting.
He went off. Mr. TG wasn't playing. So yeah, it looks like all the, because all these people are in Atlanta, right? This relationship, whatever. I don't think they don't appreciate all it. What referring to admitting to the willing sin. That's the point. Please. Yeah. So this is, and then because these people have got a platform, they get away with things. You know what I mean? I'm just like, no, you cannot tell me a grown man, a single man, wants to be out here involved in this relationship, coaching people for 8 years, and he's single himself. And it's not like he's single, that the women are not there. No, the women are there. But what is he doing? So he's partaking in everything else that somebody should be taking in marriage. That's why he's just chilling. So now, because, okay, they got married, all of a sudden, when people say, oh, you guys leave them alone. No, how many women have been led astray because of this thing? And he's not the only one. And it's so, yeah, it's very unfortunate. And also, no, we're not going to pretend that these things are not happening out there, I'm so glad that you guys are here. Please hit the likes up, and when you get the thing that says hype the video, be sure to hype that. All right, guys, so now switching gears. Okay, so let's go to Dear Future Wife. He was on this podcast and he did share, it's a long podcast, but the stuff that he was sharing, I'm looking at it, I'm like, wait a minute. Even how do I say this? Okay, let's listen to it, then I'll be adding my commentary. That way you get what I'm saying, okay? So here it is, okay?
You got married.
Yes, premarital counseling.
Which I think is amazing. So what was it about the premarital counseling, then the counseling, that none of it actually helped you guys communicate in order for you both to then vocalize your needs?
Sometimes in counseling, what happened with us, we never ever said what, like we'll talk about the overarching need, which is, hey, they start off with group counseling. They say the number one need for a man is sex, and they need respect, and then a woman needs to feel safe, and she needs all this stuff. You'll say that, but what does that look like broken down? What does that really truly look like implemented in marriage? We know this. Oh, a woman needs to feel safe. We know that. What does that look like? So I heard that. She heard my need, but then we didn't break that down to say, okay, what does sex look like for you? Does sex look like frequency? Does sex even look like, I've talked to some couples where a guy marries the woman, or even vice versa, where they have open marriage, where they're having threesomes and everything else, but they never ever discuss that. So a guy gets married to the woman and be like, hey, I want to invite somebody else in the bedroom. Why didn't you tell me that earlier? Like, I don't do that. Oh man, I just thought that, man, I mean, you could have communicated that way before our vows, and then let me decide to sign up for what I desire. So that's what happened, is that we had these things inwardly that we just didn't discuss on what that looked like truly played out and implemented in our marriage. And so we had these conversations.
So many things wrong with this, okay? This is the problem. How do I say this? Okay, it's the same thing, right? If you've never had a child, okay, you're going to learn certain things. They're going to tell you this, that, and the third, right? But once you have the child, there's things that you're going to be learning as you're raising that child as time progresses. So even if you go, which I do support 100%, go and go for marriage counseling before you get married. However, it's not like when you do that marriage counseling that they're going to tell you everything that's going to happen for as long as you're married. You see what I'm saying? That's not how things work. You're going to learn basic things that will make you, you're going to have training wheels, in other words. So I've noticed him every time these things are brought up, he always goes back like, oh, you know what, during our marriage counseling, this, I wasn't told this, I wasn't told this, I wasn't told this. Like just pretending like you were just so handicapped and you're blaming that these things didn't come up during marriage counseling. And then the other point whereby like, okay, when these people are getting married, some people are going to want to have an open marriage. There's no such thing as open marriage, guys, okay? Marriage is between a man and a woman. Every marriage that people have decided to open it up to the third party, to whatsoever, look around you. Look around. It always comes to an end. It's not going to last. Marriage is for life. It will end in divorce. It will end in so many other things because you are not going according to what God has prescribed marriages. Marriage is God's idea. So you don't get to come in with your own twist to it. It's not going to work. Look at what's Jada Pinkett and Will Smith. Candy, right now, right? They're going through divorce. So this idea of like, oh, you know what, we're just gonna bring somebody in, and it will not work. That's not how things work. So people want to create, like they want to quote unquote and create their own thing. And every time they talk about marriage, it's just all centered. It's either going to be material things or it's going to be sex. These are the two things. These are just the two things. No, material things are just material things. Okay? Sex, yes, sex is to be experienced in marriage for sure. But if that's all you're thinking when it comes to your marriage, you're going to have problems. You're absolutely going to have problems. Because what's going to happen, if your wife has a baby, if your wife has a baby, there's no sex there. It's going to take time till you come back together. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do at that time? You see? So this is the problem. Like when people, they're thinking, they're not thinking just doing life for life with this woman, doing life with this wife of yours. So it's so very, very unfortunate. And then these are the people who are coaching people about marriage, and then all their wisdom is centered around material things and the S word, so to speak, right? And when the material things are gone, guess what? So will be their marriage. And when the sex thing is not there, or it's no longer, as he put it himself, like it's no longer freaky, what are they gonna do? You see? So it's just like even just the foundation they are building, all those things, it's not good. Yeah, it's not so good at all. Oh, you guys are having an interesting conversation in there, right? If I go say like people. All right, I'll let you guys deal with that issue. So, all right, let's watch a little bit more from Mr. Dear Future Wifey. Okay, here we go, guys.
Important because a lot of us, especially if we're younger, we will just mold into being someone that we think our partner wants.
Yes.
But being very transparent and open and having the clarity to know. And then the last thing is, as you were talking, is like knowing what comes with that purpose. So knowing, if you're building your YouTube channel, that means that you're going to be probably maybe, like you might be touring, you're going to be doing interviews. So you're not going to be home at 7 p.m. So knowing what that encompasses, I think is also super important. I can't remember who I had a guest on. And she was saying, it was Spirit, the relationship expert.
Yeah, Spirit.
I love her so much.
She's amazing.
And she was saying about how people say they want a doctor. But how do you actually feel? Like, what does the doctor actually do? Like, think about their lifestyle. Are you okay with them getting up in the middle of the night to go and have to run to the hospital? Are you okay with them postponing your vacation or your honeymoon because they've got an operation to do? Because there's a big gap between falling in love with maybe someone's purpose, like, oh my God, I love like Litaris has so much, such a great purpose, but actually know what that means on a day-to-day and communicate that so that you don't then get into the relationship and realize you fell in love with the idea, but the reality now becomes something very different that now is actually contradictory to the lifestyle you want.
There it is. It's like, I used to always say this as a funny joke. You want a doctor, you fall in love with a gynecologist, but gets mad because he looks at vaginas all day. You know what I'm saying? It's like, he's like, why are you looking at other women's vaginas? I'm a gynecologist. It's
my job.
Yeah, that's my job. When you look at these vaginas, do you ever want them? He's like, no, I don't. I don't think I can be cool with that. There's no way I can be okay with my man. It's like, like, what did you think I did for a living? And in my regard, I have a podcast called Dear Future Wifey. A lot of women watch the podcast. A lot of women are drawn to me. But if you're very insecure, you're going to create stress in my life just by the mere fact that a lot of women look at me or DM me or respond to me, and I'll give my woman full access, all that. Go, you check the DM, you do what you want to. You have a code on my phone. I don't care about all that. But if you're still insecure, there's never enough you can do to make that person secure. So then where I'm finding my joy in, now it begins to be a burden. I remember dating a woman like that, fresh out of my marriage, that it was when I was doing my homeless stuff. I was doing random acts of kindness with the homeless. Well, her insecurity started weighing into me doing this stuff where if I go do this week and shoot this video, she's going to have something to say. So I'm just not going to do the video.
So this is even to me. So he's been, now he's married. I'm glad that he's married. But he was single for 8 years and he did date other women for for 8 years. So I'm like, okay, so for 8 years, all those women that you were dating, you couldn't put a ring on any of them until 8 years later. And for all those 8 years, you were coaching people about marriages, about relationships. What were you doing? So I'm glad that he's married, for the record, but it's just like, these are the people. So for all that 8 years, how many women were strung along the way? So that's why, to me, you know what I mean? It's very difficult to be able to get this type of relationship wisdom for people like him, given his history. Okay? Given his history. So yeah, you can understand the frustration from Tony. Like, okay, I'm out here. I'm married. I'm trying to do all these other things. So when I'm calling out these guys, they look at him funny and everybody comes after him. Yeah. So I can understand the frustration on that angle. But nevertheless, I am glad that dear future wife is finally married. Okay, but how many? All this wisdom that he was given for all these years, 6 years, then get married a year later, divorce is just like his record to me is not somebody that I would recommend for people to get wisdom when it comes to relationships. I wouldn't. Yeah, not at all. So this is him over here. I thought this was even quite interesting. Okay. Well, watch this. Oh, hold on. I'll bring the next clip after this. Well, I want you to see this. Because even what they did, how he decided to do the wedding, making all that secret, I'll let you guys watch it. It kind of like, like what are we doing here? You marry this person, or you guys are promoting a brand? Which is it? Watch this.
Good morning.
Good morning to you.
How are you?
Great. Did you sleep well?
I mean, I guess I didn't sleep a lot. Well, again, thank you for your hospitality, and that restaurant was bomb, and I pray that season 3 is bigger than you can even imagine.
So listen.
What were you gonna say? Yes, I'm listening.
I'm interested in you, Essex. Like,
okay.
I really am. Like, I'm not moved by emotions like when like you say a lot of stuff that resonates with my spirit. And so yesterday, last night I went home and I just laid in the bed. I was just thinking about what did I just experience. And so this morning I was in the shower and I always say, shake the tree and see what kind of fruit falls out, to just, to truly try to pursue you. That's the reason why I was like moved to go pick you up this morning, because I said, I want to say this to you face to face.
I knew this was going to happen.
Why you say that?
I just did. I knew this was going to happen because I have felt that you were interested in me for a very long time. And the hard part for me is that I don't feel the same way. And I don't know why I don't feel the same way, but I see you as a friend. I see you as somebody that I love and respect in a very platonic way.
Yeah. Not only do you irk me.
So that was him asking Essence Adkins, for her sake, I'm glad she turned him down. Because, she just seemed like to be a good sister and everything. So it's not like these men, they were doing all sorts of things. Okay? They were doing all sorts of things. Yes, it's not on camera. You cannot see it. But it would be foolish to think that they were just there waiting till the day they get married. Okay? Waiting the day they get married. So to me, I'm wondering how many of these women had this experience for this past 8 years. You know what I mean? Like, so now you finally, quote unquote, settled down. After what? So are you actually settling down because you want to settle down? Or it's just like you've been there, done that. Now you have you're tired. You know what I mean? You have exhausted, or now you finally want to get married. Remember what happened to Noel Jones? How long was he with that lady? I mean, that lady waited, over 20-something years? Like you, what in the world? And then this guy is going to marry you? Like, for what? So this is the thing. But the whole time, how many men has she come along and missed? But you're out here waiting for Noel Jones. Yes, finally they got married. But after how many years? I mean, you're talking about over decades. And then you have Megan Good and the husband, who happened to be a pastor. Same thing. God told me. And where did that go? So it's just like, man, so many women are trapped in these fake relationships, lack of better word. Because, it's a good thing, right? Like, it's a good thing to get married. There's nothing wrong for women to desire to get married. It's actually a good thing. So because you do desire to get married, and you're hearing all this wisdom that's coming out left and right, you can miss certain things, or you can be deceived. And, when the guy, he's single, he's got everything, he's got it together. What are you going to do, right? Like, you'll be like, okay, I'll say yes to this situation, right? Jamal Bryant. What happened to Jamal Bryant? How long was Jamal Bryant single? And he's still pastoring. Like, this guy is disqualified. So it's just like, And they're all just known with their cheating. If they're known with their cheating, they're known about divorcing. If they're known about this, and they're known about dating, the never ending dating. So it's so unfortunate, but this is where we are at. So well, I'm glad at least, Tony is making a difference over there, but there's quite a lot, for one Tony, you have 6 more of these men who'll be like, oh no, now I'm divorced. You're not married right now. So, but now you're going to tell people about relationships. You had a failed marriage. Or how about so all this wisdom you've learned, why not going back to your wife? Why not going back to your wife and get back to your wife and marry, get back your wife, because you were married, right? You're single right now. You're teaching people about relationships you've learned. Why don't you go back to your wife? They don't want to go back to their wives. They want to continue dating other women. So yeah, it's disturbing. It's absolutely disturbing. So this was Dear Future Wife. I guess he did this podcast prior to him getting married, explaining why he did what he did. Okay, how the planning, all that, making everything secret. He said like, oh, he wasn't thinking that somebody was going to come out of woodworks. It was by design. That's what he said. Watch this.
Her to have the wedding of her dreams. Let me tell you something. Those that have had weddings know that weddings can get extremely expensive. Extremely expensive. People spend tens of thousands of dollars for one day. And my goal is to be a good steward over the finances that God has given me and her. So it just made sense to try to create something that would attract brands to come sponsor the wedding. Now, how did that come to be? If you look on this channel, on the Dear Future Wifey podcast YouTube channel back in 2020, we sponsored 3 couples getting married. I spent $12,000 out of my own pocket for it. And let me tell you what happened is that.
So I don't begrudge him for wanting brands to sponsor the wedding, but you cannot tell me that could he have had the wedding without the brand sponsoring? He has a big channel. You know what I mean? He could have. So they decided to, take their photo shoots or whatever they were doing, right? So the brands could sponsor it, and that's what happened. That's fine if that's what that's how he wanted to do it. That's fine. But then he goes in like, oh, I sponsored other people's wedding. Well, if you sponsored other people's wedding, that's what you wanted to do. So why did you want the brands to come through? To me, I was just like, give with no expectations, right? Give with no expectations. But they wanted the brands to sponsor. Okay.
That during the pandemic, a lot of couples' weddings were canceled. And my daughter was going to get married. And so I had this venue. She decided she didn't want to have a big wedding. She wanted to have something very small, intimate, about 20 people. So I had this huge venue that I already had a deposit on. So I felt like I heard God tell me, go ahead and bless other people and help them get married. So I did this big call out on Facebook at the time and said, who wants to get married, whose wedding was canceled? And we had 3 couples have a group wedding. Shout out to Pastor Wilford, who officiated that wedding. And we put this wedding on in a matter of like 2 weeks or something. It was real short. You look at the video, I say it in that. But after I went through all that and I spent $12,000 of my money to help bless other people getting married, and then other people came and donated and helped these couples. So I couldn't have done it without them. But I spent $12,000 hard-earned dollars out of my pocket to bless other folks. And God told me, if you think that I'm not going to take care of you because you blessing other folks, he said, watch what happens when it's your time. And I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be very transparent with you. Sometimes I'm extremely pessimistic when it comes to the promises of God. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm being.
So, yeah, so this is also how they get people. Everything is God told me, God told me, God told me, right? So now because he said that, okay, when it's your turn, God told him, oh, these are the things that are going to happen. So when people say that, it's going to disarm you because, oh, you know what? God has approved of this issue. So everything is what? Everything else is okay. But we are sitting out here like, okay, wait a minute. We know the circumstances that you divorced your wife. You had no biblical grounds to divorce your wife. You divorced your wife. And then for these 8 years, you were not, what was happening? Now you find this woman. Yes, you're getting married. Oh, and then this is what also God has told you. You see? So this is how they get away with their wanting just to enjoy their sinfulness, so to speak. Okay? Yeah. So, but when they say God told you, everything else, you get disarmed. It was a nice function for sure. Okay? Beautiful dresses, everything else, you name it. Jamal had the same exact thing. Okay? Nice, beautiful, everything. But they always run to God this, God this. Then you can never bring any objections because, oh, this has been sanctioned by God. But we forget, like, wait a minute, but we do know God has already spoken as far as what he is expecting for a man to be, and what God is expecting what marriage should be. Okay? So let's take a look at the scriptures real quick here. So this is the word of God. Okay? Ephesians 5. Wives, submit to your own husbands as to the Lord. For the husband is the head of the wife, even as Christ is the head of the church, his body, and is himself his savior. Now, as the church submits to Christ, so also wives should submit in everything to their husbands. This is what it's talking about to the husband. Verse 25. Husbands, love your wife as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, that he might sanctify her, having cleansed her by the washing of the water with the word. So, if their husbands are loving their wives as Christ has loved the church, what are they doing fighting for divorce? What are they doing fighting for divorce? Because we know he's the one who filed for divorce, he's the one who cheated, and he's the one who filed for divorce. So if he was doing what the scripture is saying here, would he be telling us that God told him that, his next wedding is going to be blessed like this? So this is also the other thing. Like when people have all these material things, we always equate that, quote unquote, this is God is blessing you. You know what I mean? Yeah. So if anything, we know Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, but he's an atheist. You see? So this is what we get with these people. All right. Matthew 19. Okay? 19 verse 3. And the Pharisees came to him, testing Jesus, asking him, is it lawful to divorce one wife for any cause? And Jesus answered them, have you not read that he who created them from the beginning, this is from Genesis, made them male and female, and said, therefore a man shall leave his father and his mother and hold fast to his wife, and the two shall become one flesh. So they are no longer two, but one flesh. What therefore God has joined together, let no man separate. Let no man separate. This is what Jesus is saying, responding and answering. So this guy married a woman, joined as a one flesh union, and then he was the one separating that one flesh union. Him. But now, because he had all this hoopla, this beautiful wedding, we should just forget that he strung around once upon a time for 6 years, a woman, married, 1 year later cheated, and then stayed 8 years single. What was he doing for all that 8 years? And then came back this one and said, prophesy. That's not me, that's him. He said he prophesied that he was going to get married. We did go through this article. We don't have to go through it again. Okay? Because we already we already did this article the previous live. So this article is on essence. Okay? So that was him here. He said, oh, he prophesied that in November, at the before 2025 ends, he was going to get married. And then he said the therapist is the one who told him to get what? To get married. So which is it? Was it the therapist? Was it the prophecy? Was it God? And then here we are. But no, we cannot ask any questions. We cannot ask any question. And oh, by the way, she's the one who suggested from the beginning they should go out and eat. And he's out here telling like, oh no, a man should pursue, not a woman. But the woman is the one who suggested they should go out and eat. Approached the whole 9 years. But we cannot say anything about that issue. And all this, we should just ignore. It's God, it's God, it's God. Which God? Yeah, so this article was very, I'm like, I don't know what they were thinking putting this article, because this article actually just exposed what was already happening behind the scenes, but they want to come out here and pretend like, oh, this is what God wanted. You know what I mean? And Cindy Trim was one of them, you know. I wonder if this is Jamal Brandt. In John, I told him that he would be married this year. Cindy Trim said, you are the place that you're supposed to be at. You are healed. So many people confirmed what would come. So he leaned into fear to overcome it. That's what led him to ask his good friend out on a date. And also what prompted him to propose in a big way just a few days ago. You telling me this guy for 8 years, he wasn't healed? But for that 8 years, you just saw the video asking SS Atkins out. And he did date other women, according to this article, that he was seeing dating other women. So just like, you guys, we are not fools out here. We can see, we can hear, we can read, and we know our Bibles. And he says, I had a song co-written with my friend Michael Bethany, So Marry Me, he says. I had it produced by Warren Campbell, and I had it performed by Kenny Lattimore. So he did the same trick with the other woman before. Sang a very beautiful song, his first wife. And he's doing the same thing now. Oh, guys. Oh, man. We just have to leave it there. And when, what Tony was saying is actually true. So these are the relationship experts who are telling people wisdom when it comes to the relationships. But they themselves are not even practicing what they're preaching. They are not even living it out. And he's been doing this for 8 years. And we can't say anything about that. Just like, no.
All lies will be exposed. That's all.
Exactly.
Some of y'all better get y'all discernment together.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly what's out there. Oh, yes, guys. I am so glad that you guys are here. I guess he didn't want to look like a false prophet. That's the only thing, because it was November, December, because he had said like, okay, it's going to be 2025. So to me, I think he looked at, because you cannot tell me, like he said it, he gets DMs, people text him and everything, right? So as far as he's concerned, it wasn't women were there. It was just a matter of like, oh, which one should I pick from, from all these women, that type of thing, and to fulfill that the prophecy. So yes, now he can come out and say the prophecy came out to be true. Oh no, we are not buying that. We are not there. Okay, baby. Yeah, we are not buying that at all. Yes, guys. Okay, so we did. Oh, this poll came out. Thank you guys for liking the stream. I appreciate that. Thank you. Yes, guys, we have to leave it there. You guys are simply the best. What did you say? Brown girl, good to see you. I'm glad you were able to join us tonight. But wouldn't you say this marriage is an adulterous? Yes, it is an adulterous marriage. He had no grounds for divorce, even if you believe that he had grounds to divorce. So he had none. He's the one who cheated. He's the one who divorced his wife. So his situation, he was supposed to go back to his wife. According to the scriptures, he had no grounds for him to divorce his wife. If you do that, then you just remain single. But he didn't want to remain single. He wants to remain it. You go back or else be reconciled to your wife. That's it. Because to my knowledge, the wife is still alive and well today. Yeah, but, and this is where they're at. So yeah, by biblical grounds, it is an adulterous marriage. So for Naomi, good to see you. Tony, yes, he definitely walks the walk because, he brought it out there. And he did put his foot down even with Esther says, no, what you're saying, he did mean you're speaking of the other side. And Esther, you mean the devil? He said, no, the side of the confusion. No, it was the side of the devil. Yes. Yes, he did, yes. So I'm glad at least you have somebody who is pointing people north, right? Not giving in to what's happening right now. So yeah, we thank God for that issue. So we need more men in that field over there to be helping, because S is actually coaching other people. So they go do these other things. Like, no, if you're going to do this, do it in a way that's God, in the way that honors God, in a way that honors the truth. It cannot be about your truth. It cannot be about culture. And it cannot be about your opinions. It cannot be like, oh, that's not how things work in 2025. No, it's nothing to do with the year 2025. It's to do with what doesn't change. God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. So we don't have to worry what's happening in 2025. We stand on the side of God, because the God word doesn't change. We just need to obey it and apply it. When we fail, we need to get up, repent, and do, and keep pursuing righteousness according to the Lord. Yeah. Yes, if I go on several parts saying I like people and then admit that I really like bro, it is gossip for someone else to point out how I said I like people, but it actually did like bro. Oh, I must have missed what you guys were saying. Okay, it's weird. Okay, oh, that was nice. All right, guys, you guys are simply the best. This one is for you. Yes, guys. Yes. All right, guys, we have to leave it there for now. I do appreciate your viewership. Thank you for being here on your way out. Please make sure you like this live stream. Let's continue this conversation in the comment section. We'll definitely have more coming this week. So stay tuned. If you're a subscriber, double check to make sure you are subscribed. If not, please subscribe. I do appreciate you guys. Follow me on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Stay tuned. More coming this week. Until next time, remember, theology matters. Thank you.